Assalamualaikum. My name is Dr. Shaheen Anjum, maxillofacial surgeon at Nishtar Institute of Dentistry, Multan. Today, my topic of discussion is current aspects on the oral squamous cell carcinoma. Oral squamous cell carcinoma is the most common malignant epithelial neoplasm affecting the oral cavity. Worldwide, oral cancer accounts for 2 to 4% of the all cancer cases. The 90% of the all cancers are oral squamous cell carcinoma. This cancer, when found early, has an 80 to 90% survival rate. Despite the advances of the therapeutic approaches, percentage of the morbidity and mortality of oral squamous cell carcinoma have not improved significantly during the last 30 years. In some regions, the prevalence of oral cancer is higher, reaching the 10% of the all cancers in Pakistan and around 45% in India. And now the clinical features. At the initial stages, it is painless, but in the advanced stages, burning sensation or pain is felt. Common sites are tongue, lips, and floor of the mouth. It may arise apparently in the normal mucosa or may preceded by the clinically obvious premalignant lesions, especially the erythroplakia and the leukoplakia. The presenting complaints may be an ulcer with fissuring or raised exophytic margins. It may present as a lump or a red lesion, as a white lesion, or the mixed red and white lesion, a non-healing extraction socket, or cervical lymph node enlargement, which may be characterized by the hardness or fixation. Oral squamous cell carcinoma should be considered where any of the clinical features persist more than 2 weeks. Now the risk factors. Remember, these are the risk factors, not the causative agents, because there is a hell of difference between the risk factors and the causative agent. The risk factors may or may not lead to the disease, and the causative agents are the probability they lead to the disease. And the risk factors are the use of tobacco and alcohol. Thus, tobacco smoking causes 70% of all cases of the squamous cell carcinoma, and the tobacco smoking carries a 6-fold risk of developing oral cancer compared to the not smoking. Oral cancer is also 6 times more likely to develop in alcohol drinkers than in non-drinkers. The combination of the tobacco and alcohol use poses a 15-fold risk of oral cancer for users compared to the non-users. And the betel quid chewing is popular in India and Taiwan and is associated with significantly increased risk of oral cancer. Areca nut, narcotics, and cannabis use has also been found to be a risk factor for oral cancer. Oral squamous cell carcinoma is common in older males and in low socioeconomic groups and in ethnic minority groups. An impaired ability to repair DNA damaged by the mutagen is also a causative factor. An impaired ability to metabolize carcinogens, deficiencies of vitamin A, E, or C, or trace elements, immune defects, and inadequate immune defense, such as in individuals with the HIV infection, such as in Kaposi-sarcoma, which may lead to the B-cell Hodgkin lymphoma. And there is an increased risk of developing oral squamous cell carcinoma in HIV-infected patients and patients submitted to the organ transplantations and those who are under immunosuppressive therapy. And now the role of viral infections in oral squamous cell carcinoma. Human papilloma virus, more than 100 types of the human papilloma virus has been identified, more frequently detected in oral squamous cell carcinoma, and the viral protein E6 and E7 has a role because the E6 binds to the P53, which causing its breakdown, and which is a tumor suppressor gene, and E7 reacts with the retinoblastoma protein, which is also a tumor suppressor gene, and it inhibits its function. It is currently believed that human papilloma virus infection of the oral mucosal cells is not enough for the malignant transformation unless cells are exposed to the chemical carcinogens such as benzopyrenes. And by discussing the role of virus, Epstein-Barr virus has also but not in probably in the squamous cell carcinoma. It is an infective agent in the infectious mononucleosis, but it may cause the malignant transformation of B cells. Dominant oncoproteins of the latent phase LMP1 is expressed in oral epithelium, which are the malignant. And hepatitis C virus has also role, and the prevalence of oral squamous cell carcinoma is higher in HCV infected patients. And the potentially malignant disorders that was the previously called, but now the WHO workshop has recommended that the distinction between the potentially malignant lesions and the potentially malignant conditions should be abandoned, and rather to use the term potentially malignant disorder instead. Some precancerous disorders can progress to the oral squamous cell carcinoma. These are the following: erythroplakia, leukoplakia, actinic cheilitis, lichen planus, Dirophoenix dysphagia, submucous fibrosis, disc keratosis congenita, and the discoid lupus erythematosus. And now the molecular pathogenesis of the oral squamous cell carcinoma. When a carcinogen is exposed, such as tobacco, alcohol, or any chemical carcinogen, ultraviolet or ionizing radiations, or microorganisms, these damage the individual genes or chromosomes and activate the mutations or amplification of the oncogenes. And these oncogenes promote cell survival and proliferation. And the tumor suppressor genes are also mutated, and mutation include the DNA general hypomethylation, hyper or hypomethylation of the certain genes such as the cyclin D, and the alteration of the chromatin. Oncogenes are broadly categorized as growth factors or growth factor receptors. These are the further endothelial drive growth factors, or HST1, 2. These are the some oncogenes, and they may be transcription factors, they may be intracellular signal transducers, or the inhibitory factors of the apoptosis, or the cell cycle regulators such as the cyclin D1. Genetic damages may also inactivate tumor suppressor genes, involve the inhibition of the cell proliferation. All these events may lead to the cell dysregulation to the extent that growth becomes autonomous and invasive mechanisms develop. As oral squamous cell carcinoma grows and invades new blood vessels, formation occurs. The angiogenesis is an important part of the tumor formation. And now the term field cancerization. It is a theory that the oral carcinogenesis. According to this theory, since the oral epithelial is exposed to the carcinogenic factors, the entire area is at the risk for the development of the malignant lesions from the accumulation of the genetic alteration of the oncogenes and the tumor suppressor genes. Recent data supports that the cancerization of field multiple oral cancers may develop from the independent cell clones. Multiple cancers can be clonally related and derived from the expansion of the original clone. Now the staging of oral squamous cell carcinoma. CTNM is the stage given after the clinical examination of the patient, and the PTNM is the stage after the histopathological examination of the surgical specimen. Evaluation of other features of the neoplasm such as the degree of differentiation, type of infiltration, and the degree of recurrence. These are included in the new TNM classification. And T4A is the moderately advanced local disease such as lip tumor invades through the cortical bone or involves the inferior alveolar nerve, floor of the mouth or skin of the face, chin or nose. The term T4A is changed, and T4B is a very advanced local disease in which the tumor invades masticator space and pterygoid plates and skull base, and cases the internal carotid artery. And all the other TNM classification is same. These are two changes in the T4A and T4B. In the clinical stage of N category, CN, the extranodal cancer extension, ENE, has been added to the lymph node category, and N3A and N3B are now added. N3A being metastasis in the lymph node larger than 6 centimeter in greater dimension, and ENE negative, and N3B being metastasis in any node and clinically overt ENE positive. These terminologies are changed, otherwise all TNM classification is same. Previous MX distance metastasis which cannot be assessed category has been dropped in the 8th version of AGCC 8 TNM staging. And the prognostic stage, TNM stage T0 TIS N0 M0. Initial stage N0 M0 and at the T0, and the stage 1 is called when the T is 1, when the size is less than 2 centimeter, and N0 M0, and the stage 2 is when T is 2, and the stage 3 when the T is 3. T may be 1, 2, 3 when the N is 1, and stage 4A when the T is 4, or T may be 1, 2, 3, 4 but N is 2, and stage 4B T4 or any M. There are some markers for the diagnosis of oral squamous cell carcinoma. The new emerging technologies in molecular biology have enabled the discovery of the new molecular markers, DNA, RNA, and protein markers for the oral cancer diagnosis and surveillance. And the samples can be obtained from the saliva. And there are some screening tests. For the diagnosis, there is visual inspection, toluidine blue, which is a dye which can detect cancer at the early stages. These are the screening tests. Brush biopsy, chemiluminescence, and the fluorescence imaging. Screening can be done by the urine, saliva, cerebrospinal fluid, or other body fluids, and certain proto-oncogenes or oncogenes can be detected, and the tumor suppressor genes can also be detected for screening purpose. Nucleic acids and proteins related to the cancer cells have been detected in plasma or serum. These nucleic acids or proteins are produced by the cell death, apoptosis, or the cell lysis, and these are the molecular markers for squamous cell carcinoma. And some other markers are also used, such as DNA, RNA, or proteins. There are changes in DNA and the messenger RNA scripts and the altered protein levels. When a cell is necrosed, or lysis or apoptosis process are produced due to trauma or some cancerous cells, these cells produce cell-free nucleic acids and proteins in the saliva, so they can be detected. And cell necrosis also leads to the changes in the DNA, and which can also be detected in advanced stages. The changes in the DNA which shows the dysplastic or cancer cells, these changes include point mutations, deletions, translocations, applications, methylations, cyclin D1, epidermal growth factor receptors, and changes in the microsatellite instability, and the presence of human papilloma virus. These all changes can be detected by the cellular DNA. And the loss of allele on the chromosome 9p has been observed in the oral squamous cell carcinoma. And the mitochondrial DNA mutations has also been useful daggers to detect the exfoliated oral squamous cell carcinoma cells in the saliva. Mutations in the p53 genes also present in half of the head and neck cancers. And hypermethylation of the several genes can be detected in saliva. The presence of human papilloma virus and Epstein-Barr virus has been identified as the possible DNA molecular markers in detecting oral squamous cell carcinoma and tumor progression. The viruses can be detected by their DNA test. So the HPV virus and Epstein-Barr virus are positive in these cases. and the cyclin D1 amplification gene is associated with the poor prognosis of the oral squamous cell carcinoma, and Ki67 markers are also increased. 8-oxoguanine DNA glycosylase, and these are some certain markers that are decreased in the saliva of the patients. These are markers are phosphorylated SRC, mammary serine protease inhibitor, which is called MASPIN, and these are decreased in the saliva. Altered messenger RNA transcripts are also present in the apoptotic bodies, and these are 7 messenger RNA molecules that are upregulated in the saliva of the patients, that are interleukin 8, interleukin 1b, DUSP1, H3F3A, and SATE-S1-OOP, and these markers play a role in angiogenesis, replication, chemotaxis, etc. Defensins and peptides are certain proteins that are altered, and the elevated level of defensin are indicated of the oral squamous cell carcinoma. Other genes, CD44, interleukin 6 or interleukin 8, are the biomarkers for oral squamous cell carcinoma in saliva. And now going towards the therapeutic approaches and prognosis. And surgery is the standard option for the squamous cell carcinoma, but the combination of surgery, radiotherapy and chemotherapy are reserved for the stage 3 or 4 stage of the oral squamous cell carcinoma. In case of the metastatic lymph nodes, 80% of the cases are presented with the metastatic lymph nodes, and so previously radical neck dissection was done, and now the selective neck dissection or modified radical neck dissection can be done. For radiotherapy and chemotherapy, new techniques such as the altered fractionation, accelerated fractionation, hyperfractionation are the recent advances, and for the chemotherapy, neoadjuvant, concurrent and adjuvant treatment can be given, and new targeted therapy for chemotherapy are the current trends in the treatment of the chemotherapy for oral squamous cell carcinoma. And now for the radiotherapy, what is the accelerated fractionated radiotherapy? In this case, the irradiation can be done twice daily, and but the number of the irradiation sessions are limited to the 5 per week. And for the chemotherapy, cisplatin based chemoradiation remains the standard for the locoregional advanced head and neck squamous cell carcinoma. Cisplatin based chemoradiation includes the paclitaxel and the Taxol group. And now going towards the targeted therapy for the oral cavity, and there are some targeted drugs such as the monoclonal antibodies that can act as a immunotherapy, and that act on the targeted cells for control of the cancer cells. The targeted therapy focus on the 4 molecules. These are epidermal growth factor receptor, cycloogenase 2, peroxisome proliferator, and the progesterone receptors. The monoclonal antibodies target these 4 receptors, and the cetuximab is the monoclonal antibody that is the man-made version of the immune system protein, and it targets EGFR. As there are other certain monoclonal antibodies such as ramucirumab, necitumab, and nivolumab and pembrolizumab. These nivolumab and pembrolizumab can act as an immunotherapy. And the cisplatin based chemotherapy include the Taxol groups such as paclitaxel, gemcitabine, and docetaxel. Thank you very much.